training today was delivered on the latest version of Office 365 as of the date of this recording.
Today we're going to be looking at some additional rules related to conditional formatting. If you were with us on our last conditional formatting video, we set up some rules to monitor our profit percentage. We also did some stuff with expenses, and we did some data bars so that you can show a different color as well as the amount of fill, whether which values are higher or lower, and sort of graphed out within the cell. Today, we're going to be looking at using icons instead of colors. We're going to be looking at top and bottom rules, and we're also going to be looking at color scales. So uh, just to give you a little refresher, in the last video, we had two rules set up that would show us whether our profit percentage was lower than 40% or fell within 40 to 45%. And in my example earlier, um, for work that I had to do, I had to ensure that any training deliverable that we scheduled to be delivered or actually was delivered, it had to fall above 40%. So what I would do is, and when we set these up until they're completed, they're considered estimates. So I could tell very quickly that, these two are out of whack and we got to do something about that if they haven't already been delivered. The ones that were yellow were above 40%, but they were kind of right on the line where, if they hadn't been done yet, I need to monitor them because if expenses went up for some reason, it's going to knock me below 40. And if we don't, kind of stay ahead of that, um, if it gets delivered, then and the expenses did go up, then I might be on the hook for, hey, how did you let this happen? Why weren't you watching that? So we had a little safety net is really what this is for. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at using icons. I'm going to leave this formatting as it is, and that way when we apply our icon formatting, we'll be able to tell if our results match. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to highlight the data that we're going to format. Remember, don't select your header when you do that. And just like all the other ones, we're going to click the little drop down for conditional formatting. We're going to go down to icon sets, and we're going to pick the type of icons we want to use. And I like these. They're neat and clean. And all you have to do is click those. And now you'll notice that they're applied to this range of data. Now, some of these look right, but there's at least one that looks wrong. So, we know this one's over 45% because it's got the green check mark. This one was below 40, so we know that's right. But look down here, there's a 55%. That one should show up green and it's not. And the reason is that just applying the rule for icons, the Excel doesn't have enough information to determine whether it's correct or not. So we're going to go back to conditional formatting, and we're going to go down here to manage rules. And this area will let you see all the rules that you have set up for the data that you've selected on the screen. And we're going to click on the icon set, which is what we just applied, and we're going to click edit. So we don't really need to worry about anything up here. This has already been selected for us based on what we're doing with the icons. Um, it just shows you the icon style, but you could come over here and change it in after you've applied it if you wanted to. And what we have to do here is we have to tell Excel, you know, when when this value is in the cell, we want to show this icon. When this value, or based on this rule, is in the cell, we want to show this icon and so forth. Well, we're going to make this line up and match the rules that we had in before. So when we have a value that is greater than 45%, and don't forget, we don't want to use greater than or equal to, we want to be greater than 45%. And you can change this, but for the values that are in this cells, they are percentages, so we want to leave them at percent. we want to show the green. Now for yellow, we want to show the value of the data that is greater than 39%. So that's going to cover our gap. Greater than 39, well, that's 40. So that's 40 to 45, and we're going to show the yellow. Now, as soon as I hit tab, it's going to automatically come down here and say anything that is less than or equal to 39 is going to have a red X. And we're going to apply that and hit OK. You'll notice that our 55 corrected itself. And now we've got one that's between 40 and 45. We've got two that are less than 40, and all the other ones are greater than 45%. So that's a very quick and easy thing to look at. It can be a little confusing. Um, when you start talking about greater than or greater than or equal to. You've got to be careful. If you use greater than or equal to in the wrong place, you could have your rules could kind of overlap, and you may have, say, a 45 or 46% for green, but then you come down here and say greater than or equal to 45 or 46, and the Excel can get confused, and it doesn't know which one you want to use, and it may be determined by the order of the formula. So you just want to watch out for that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at top and bottom rules. So what we're going to use this trainer revenue column for this, and I want to see, and top and bottom refers to show me the cell that has the highest value or maybe has the lowest value. You could do a top 10 list, you could do a bottom 10 list. For this example, I just want to see which order or project had the highest and the lowest amount of revenue that we paid the trainer. So just like before, we're going to select the data that we want to view or that we want to apply the conditional formatting to. And we're going to choose top and bottom rules, and I'm going to choose top 10. Now, you're going to say, well, you just said we were going to show us the top and the bottom. Well, to do the top, which we're going to do first, we're going to select top 10, and then we're going to bring that down to 1. We only want the top 1. We don't want the top 2, 3, 4, 5 through 10. We just want 1. And since this is the top one, I'm going to click this drop down box, and I'm going to tell it to choose the predefined green fill. Because for me, green means good, red means bad. You can go down to custom format and select that and pick your own color for the fill as well as the font and color for the text, but for this example, we're just going to choose green fill. And we're going to hit OK. So you'll see, if you look through this data, this is the highest priced project that we have. So then we're going to get the bottom one, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to highlight the data. We're going to click conditional formatting. We're going to go to top and bottom rules, and this time we're going to use bottom 10 items. And same thing, we don't want the bottom 2, 3, 4, we want the bottom 1. And we're going to change this to red. So now we can quickly look at this data and we can see that this project was the highest amount of money, or contained the highest amount of money that we paid to trainer. And this one was the project with the least amount of money paid to the trainer. Okay, so those are pretty simple. You can go through here. You can do top 10 percentages, bottom 10 percentages, above average, below average. So there's quite a few formats that are kind of built in and almost point and click. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is color scales. I'll be honest with you, this is not one of my favorite conditional formats, especially if you're dealing with just a ton of data. These color scales can make your spreadsheets look really, really busy, and some of the colors are very close together. You may be able to tweak some of the formats or colors or things like that, but I don't use this very often for large amounts of data. If you want to use it for small data sets, then it'll probably work fine. But what this will do, it's similar, well, it's not really similar to a data bar, but it kind of serves the same purpose. And instead of filling your cell, higher the number, the more green you have over here, the lower your number, the um, smaller amount of green you have. It's going to actually format the whole cell with one color, and you'll be able to see and sort and visually see which cells have the highest value or lowest value. And I'll show you that. And in this example, we're going to be able to see which person, expenses again are bad. So we're going to make those expenses look red. But we're going to go to conditional formatting and we're going to go to color scales. And I like this one. You can look and see, which one suits your needs better. But for this example, we're going to do this one. And what it does is it has automatically showed us that this dark green is the lowest amount. This little lighter green is the next level. White is the next level. This pinkish color is the next level. And then this red is the highest level. And one of the things that you can do if you want to sort this by column Q, which is the expense column, it'll kind of line those up for you and you can see how they go. So like I said, I really don't use this at all, but I wanted you to see that it was available. It may apply to something that you work on, so I wanted you to be able to see it.
We hope you enjoyed today's training. If you did, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to receive notifications for new training as they're released. Thanks, guys.